Jai.
ISKCON Sanstapakacharya Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtodaraksa Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Das Thakur ki Jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Sri Giri Govardhan ki Jai. ब्रजभूमि से वृंदावन धाम की जय। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र से जगन्नाथपुर धाम की जय। नवदीप मायापुर धाम की जय। गंगामय जमुनामय भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। कलियुग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। I God Premanand, all glories to assemble, all glories to assemble, all glories to assemble, all glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Guru. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisheshi Shunyavadi Paschata Deshtarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for inviting us here this evening. I'll speak on one particular angle of the Vaishnava relationship, where in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the first canto, Maharaj Pariksit is facing his death, and he's surrounded by the sages and is preparing himself to hear for the next 7 days and 7 nights. So the moment when Shukadeva Goswami enters, Maharaj Pariksit welcomes him and glorifies him and says that Yasya samsmaranat pumsam sadyo shuddhyanti vaikriha kim punardarshana sparsha padashauchasanadi. He says that darshan of devotees like yourself is so glorious. Samsmaranat pumsam, simply by remembering Vaishnavas like you, sadhyo shuddhyanti vaigrihan, all our houses become purified. Kim punar darshana sparsha, what to speak of by getting an opportunity to have darshan and touch such exalted personalities as yourself and get the opportunity to serve. So Maharaj Pariksit is feeling fortunate to get the association of an exalted Vaishnava like Shukadeva Goswami. And then in the next verse, he actually explains the reason why I have received the association of such a wonderful Vaishnava like Shukadeva Goswami. And he says, Api me Bhagavan Prita Krishna Pandasutta Priya Paitra Satseve Prityartham Yad Gotra Syakta Bandhava. He says Krishna, he is so merciful that Krishna, he loves his devotees, the Pandavas. And Apime, and therefore Krishna decided to give his mercy to me. Why? Krishna Pandusuta Priya. The Pandavas are so close to Krishna, so dear to Krishna. The Pandavas served Krishna without any duplicity. Pandavas served Krishna with feeling. They were malleable. And so Krishna also became so intimate with the Pandavas. And he picked up various roles in his service to the Pandavas. Sarathya Parashada Sevana Sakhya Dautya Virasana Astavana Pranaman Snigdheshu Pandushu Jagat Pranatim Cha Vrishtam Bhaktim Karoti Drupatis Charanaravinde. So Bhagavatam is glorifying the Pandavas' attitude towards Krishna as Snigdheshu. Snigdheshu, the word comes from the Sanskrit word sneha. Sneha literally means ghee. Ghee burns itself and gives light. So therefore love is that emotion where one goes through voluntary pain and suffering to give pleasure and light to others. Just like the ghee, it burns itself but then it gives light. Snigdheshu Pandushu Jagat Pranatim Cha Vishnu. And therefore the Pandavas had that kind of humility and flexibility to Krishna's desires. And so Krishna sometimes became their Sarathi, sometimes Parshad, sometimes friend, sometimes messenger. He took all these roles. And therefore, here Pariksit Maharaj is remembering the wonderful mercy which Krishna gave to his grandfathers, the Pandavas. So even when the battle of Kurukshetra was about to begin, so Duryodhana approached Sahadev. And apart from various other qualities, Sahadev was also known to be a great astrologer. So Duryodhana approached Sahadev and asked Sahadev, tell me some sutra by which we can be victorious. So you can't imagine this conversation in Kali Yuga. So Duryodhana, for all the faults he had, still there was some culture in those days. People could go and ask such a question, and Sahadev also immediately gave reply. And he said that on Amavas night, if you do Kalbali Yagya, you will be victorious. So Duryodhana was very happy. Next day was Amavas, so he started preparing. So Sahadev was perfectly peaceful, and Krishna was in anxiety. And this would happen many times, that Krishna would be in anxiety about the Pandavas' protection. And at one point, Arjuna told Krishna that, you are in charge of the protection of devotees, so what can be done? So Krishna is declared in Gita, Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. So Krishna, he becomes, filled with anxiety, and he gathers a group of Brahmanas and he starts performing the tarpan or puja for the forefathers, which is usually done on Amavas, which is a new moon. So on Amavas, this is done. So Krishna is doing one day before. So the Pandits are also a little bewildered that why it is happening one day before. So they start discussing, then someone says that Krishna is doing it, just follow. So then more and more Pandits are joining and the Brahmanas are doing all this tarpan for the Pitris, for the forefathers. So Surya and Chandra, they are confused. And Surya is asking Chandra, when is Amavas? Chandra is saying, as per my calculation, it is tomorrow. But why is doing now? So they say, okay, let us go and find out. So they come down and approach Krishna and said, my dear Lord, Amavas is tomorrow. Why you are doing the tarpan today? Krishna says, whenever Surya and Chandra come in straight line, that is Amavas, you are standing right in front of me. So he adjusts. And then he calls the Pandavas and, makes them do this yajna. And, Duryodhana is doing as per Panchang. But he doesn't know that Krishna has changed everything. So Krishna was always intervening and protecting the Pandavas in various ways, and without Krishna's personal protection intervention, it was impossible for the Pandavas to be victorious. And so Pariksit is remembering and saying, Krishna Pandu Sutta Priya. So Krishna, he had special affection and love for the Pandavas. And therefore, Paitra Satsevya Prityartham Yadagotra Satyabhama. Because I am related to the Pandavas as their Pautra, as their grandson. Because I am Arjuna's grandson. So Krishna is so merciful that when Krishna loves some of the Vaishnavas, Krishna takes care and takes responsibility of taking care of those who are related to those Vaishnavas in a way that none of us can take care by our own planning, by our own organization, by our own effort and endeavor. So that's the power of Krishna consciousness, that by connecting closely with Krishna and the Vaishnava family, we are making facility for an insurance of various people connected to us, not just in this lifetime, but also in future lifetimes, at times where we are not personally there to ensure their safety, their protection, their well-being. Because Krishna, with his infinite wisdom and infinite powers, can give such a level of care which no one can imagine. So Pariksit is saying that because Krishna loves the Pandavas, and Krishna is very conscious that I have to take care of the Pandavas' next generations also. And so when Krishna saw that I am in difficulty and I have been cursed to die in 7 days and 7 nights, and this curse cannot be reversed, all that can be done is help me prepare for my death. And so Krishna, being the Paramatma in the heart, has inspired Shukadeva Goswami to come right here and speak this katha, which is the greatest benediction which I can receive at this moment. And therefore the presence of Shukadeva Goswami to speak this katha to me is the greatest gift which I could have received from anyone. Because at the time of death, what gift will I carry with me into the next life? And therefore those who are the devotees, they become the instruments for helping us and saving us and intervening in our life at the moment of our greatest crisis and calamity, where we cannot imagine that such a situation can arise. But because of our relationship with the devotees, Krishna is always very conscious to help, protect, and take care of us in ways which are beyond our imagination. So therefore, the greatest security we can ever achieve in our life in any form is in the form of becoming dear and affectionate and having a place in the heart of Krishna's devotees. And because Krishna carries the devotees in his heart, automatically Krishna also becomes very aware and does whatever can be done to take care of such devotees. So therefore he says, Paitra Satsevya Prityartham Yadagotra Satyabhama. So it is not my qualification. It is not my qualification. It is because I am related to the Pandavas. Because of that relationship, I am being protected, I am being taken care. So therefore, in the 7th canto, when Prahlad Maharaj is offered a benediction by Lord Nrsimhadev, he says, "My dear Lord, please deliver my father." So Prahlad by himself did not have any kind of asuric qualities. Nodvigna chitta vyasaneshu nispraha sruteshu drishteshu guneshu avastuta. He was detached from all kinds of sense gratification, sense objects. He was beyond fear of this material world. Nothing could frighten him. Dantendriya prana sharirabhi sada prashanta kamo. And he was free from all kinds of material desires and lust. Rahita asura. Although he was born as an asura, he was not having any asura qualities. But still, Hiranyakashipu tortured him. And therefore, in response to that, Nrsimhadev appeared and he has killed Hiranyakashipu. And Prahlad Maharaj is asked by Nrsimhadev what I should give. And he's saying, "Please deliver my father." And so Lord Nrsimhadev says, "Tri saptibhi pita puta pitribhi sahatenaga." That if someone is connected to Krishna and to the devotees of Krishna, 21 generations are delivered because of that relationship, because of that connection. And therefore, even we may not be able to personally serve and help someone in our lifetime, but because of our connection with Krishna and the Vaishnavas, then Krishna takes responsibility of helping them, taking care of them. I remember many years ago I had gone to Chennai, I had taken Govinda Prabhu with me, and he was mentioning this point, for a family gathering we had, more than 80 to 100 of my family members, cousins, they were all there, and he gave the lecture because you can't give lecture in your own family. And so he spoke that, now you have devotees in your family who are practicing Krishna consciousness. So 21 generations will be delivered. That's what Bhagavatam says. And, that's a great benediction for your family. So after that lecture, one of my cousins came to me and he told me, "Keep chanting Hare Krishna." And then he told me that if you have any problem, let me know. Don't stop. He said, "I didn't know that, your becoming Hare Krishna will benefit me also." So from that point onwards, he became quite favorable. And recently he organized a big corporate event. He called me for that program. And he himself is still religiously not chanting. He's sticking to that, but he has become very favorable and he wants to promote ISKCON in various ways and connect. So many times we may feel that I want to help someone, but with our limited intelligence, limited efforts, we may not be able to help. But when we put faith in Krishna and when we put faith in the Vaishnavas, then just by the blessings of the Vaishnavas, inconceivable benefits manifest for those who are dear to us. Paya yara agyadan brajera Vaishnavagan taramadya mukhya haridas Chaitanya vilasa sindhu kallolera ekabindu tahakana kohi Krishnadas. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, at the age of 95, he is submitting his plea to the assembled Vaishnavas in Vrindavan. And he's saying that I am accepting the order of the devotees upon my head. They are telling me, instructing me, write the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Paya yara agya dhan, prajera Vaishnavagan. And I am simply accepting this order of the devotees. Why? Because Mahaprabhu's pastimes need to be communicated to this world. And so, at the age of 95, he is very old and he is unable to see anything. His hands are shaking. Hands are shaking. He says, I am not able to remember anything. He is saying, I can't remember anything, and so many volumes of Chaitanya Charitamrita we have. What would have happened if he remembered everything? So, Kaviraj Goswami is in that state, but he says that the greatest wealth I have in this situation is the instruction and the order of the devotees for some seva. And therefore, he immediately embarks upon writing the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chaitanya Lila Ratnasar Swarupera Bhandar Teho Pura Raghunatera Kanthe. He says this Mahaprabhu's pastimes which was stored in the Swarup Damodar Goswami's diary. And then Raghunath Das Goswami was holding this jewel in his throat and he spoke on the banks of Radha Kund. And whatever Das Goswami spoke on the banks of Radha Kund, I was fortunate enough to sit and hear. Chaitanya Vilasa Sindhu. And this Mahaprabhu's pastimes is like a huge ocean. And therefore, I am simply trying to repeat this. Bhaktagana Dilu Ei Bhete. I am simply giving this as a gift to the Vaishnavas. So, the principle of Vaishnava Seva continues till the end of our lives. And therefore, our relationship with the Vaishnavas is not something just for this moment or for the next moment or for some time. It is a lifelong commitment which is related to our eternal commitment to Krishna. And therefore, as far as service to the Vaishnavas is concerned, relationship with the Vaishnavas is concerned, it's an eternal principle. And the sense gratification is a temporary principle where over a period of time, the senses, they become weak. The taste for sense gratification remains in the heart, but the experience of sense gratification becomes filled with frustration and distress. Right? I was telling this past time that they were celebrating one festival in Narsingh Chaturdashi. They were celebrating on the west coast. And they had made a big cake. Cake looked very attractive from a distance. It was carob cake. And so after the aarti, everyone sat to honor that cake. And the first person got that piece of cake. He had been meditating for the last 1 hour on that. And he jumped into that cake. The cook had made one mistake, forgot to put sugar in it. So the cake looked attractive, but tasted not so good. But because he had meditated for such a long time, the first reaction when he tasted that cake was, it cannot be. It cannot be. Denial. So he took that cake, kept it on the side, started eating rice and dal, kept looking at the cake. Because there is hope that things may change. After some time, picked up that cake and tried to taste it from another side. Will the taste change? Because the ingredient which gives sweetness is not there. So therefore, the nature of sense gratification in this world is that whatever may be the relationship of the senses with the sense objects, there is inherent distress involved. Why? Because that's the nature of the interaction of the senses with the sense objects. So if we consider the Vaishnavas to be objects of our senses and we develop relationship with them, expecting them to give us pleasure, like we would expect a sense object to give us pleasure, then there will always be inherent distress and frustration. So therefore we should not consider the Vaishnavas to be objects of our senses, but we should consider them to be objects of our service. And therefore, Vaishnavas are meant to be respected and to be served and to be pleased so that we can ultimately please Krishna. And so Shastras, they are filled with so many examples of, wonderful devotees that even, like for example in Ramayana it is described, when Ram is in the forest, Sita and Ram are about to take rest. They are with Guha and Guha offers them nice, bed of grass. So they go to sleep. And then Guha tells Lakshman, you also go to sleep. But Lakshman says, I cannot tolerate to see Sita and Ram sleeping like this. I'm used to seeing them sleeping in opulence. I take a vow today, I will not sleep for next 14 years. And then Lakshman takes sword in his hand and starts circumambulating Sita and Ram. So Guha looks at this scene and is bewildered. So Lakshman has only declared, I will protect Sita and Ram and I will just, not sleep at all. He has not spoken anything beyond this. But Guha gets a doubt in his mind. And the doubt Guha gets is, why is Lakshman not sleeping? What is his intention? Looks like he wants to become the king. Why is carrying the sword? Looks like he wants to kill Ram and become the king himself. And then Guha starts thinking, this is injustice. I will not allow this to happen. I will protect Ram. Ram should not be in fear at all. I am there. I will take care. And so behind some trees, Guha stands with his arrow pointed at Lakshman and starts circumambulating. Lakshman is unaware. Lakshman is circumambulating Sita and Ram. Guha is circumambulating Lakshman. Now Guha's soldiers see this scene. And they start thinking, what has happened to our king? So then someone says, looks like he's not satisfied being king of the forest. He wants to become king of Ayodhya. And then someone says, he has his arrows pointed at Ram. And some other soldier says, we will not allow this to happen. We are all devotees of Ram. Ram must be protected at any cost. Yes, he must be protected. So they all take up their arrows and all their arrows are pointed at Guha. And they are also circumambulating. So that night, only two people are sleeping peacefully, Sita and Ram. Everyone else is in anxiety. So here, none of the parties, their commitment to Ram is in question. Their commitment to Lord Ram is 100% and they are all saying, yes, Jai Sri Ram, we are going to protect Ram, we are going to serve Ram, and we are dedicating our lives for Ram. But somehow, there is some misunderstanding between Ram Dases. So, Lakshman is serving, Guha is serving, servants are serving. Somehow, there is a mismatch in their expectations and they are misreading the intentions by seeing the actions. And by seeing the actions, they are thinking probably the intention is like this and there is a misunderstanding. And therefore, even amongst very exalted devotees, the nature of this material world is the circumstances are sometimes so complex and so difficult to understand and judge that misunderstanding can arise. And so we have to be extremely careful to know that the principle of having faith in the Vaishnavas and having loving relationship with the Vaishnavas is very important. And even if the circumstances somehow spring up in a way and make me feel that, oh, what is this going on? So let me double check, triple check and understand the whole situation before arriving at a conclusion and questioning the intentions. Because practically the only lifeline we have towards Krishna's lotus feet is through this Shraddha towards the devotees. And once the Shraddha is lost, we feel inspired to leave the association. And so Narottam Das Thakur says, Satsanga chhadi koinu asate bilas te karane lagi luye karma bandha phas. As soon as we leave the satsang, asate vilas, we become engrossed in sense gratification. And then we become attracted to karma bandha phas. Te karane lagi luye karma bandha phas. And one will be trapped in the cycle of karma bandhan again and again. So therefore, in conclusion, I would like to share that our relationship with Krishna is very much dependent on our relationship with the Vaishnavas. And because Krishna loves the Vaishnavas so much, if we become dear to the Vaishnavas, not only we are taken care of, but several generations of those who are in connection with us, they are also taken care. And therefore, this is the best investment to make in the human form of life. Investing in a relationship with Krishna and a relationship with the Vaishnavas. that gives the maximum returns. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
चक्षुरुन्मिलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते स्वामी नामने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रसादिने निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चात्प्रदेशिने। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Ram
Hare Hare. So, as Gauranga was mentioning about, even the great souls have sometimes misunderstanding. And why misunderstanding? Because there is great affection also. Like Guha and Lakshman. Some other Lakshman had this, in one sense, of course he has no bad karma, but in this pastime, one of the very interesting episode in the Ramayana, when Mother Sita, when she heard the sound coming from Marich, she didn't know it was Marich. Marich, as it was told to him by Ravan, that whenever you are hit by Ram, you should chant, Hey Sita, Hey Lakshman. Now Marich chanted as if it was the voice of Ram, and then what happened? Both people, both party, Lakshman and Sita, responded differently. Sita said, Lakshman, I think Lord Ramachandra is in danger. So in love, different people respond differently. So Sita expressed concern. And Lakshman said, danger for Ram? You just experienced. In a few days back, Lord Ram alone in one muhurta, 40 to 1 hour, 40 minutes to 1 hour, he destroyed 14,000 demons. You saw it, I saw it. Ram proved his capability. There was a conflict between Ram and Lakshman, Ram and Sita also in the Ramayana. When Ram wanted to, or he was told to go to the forest, Ram told Sita, my dear Sita, I think you should stay back here. Forest is not an easy place. He explained the danger in the sky, danger in the land, danger everywhere. And Mother Sita said, I know about it, but I am with you. I am coming. Ram said, you know what, you should stay back in Ayodhya, take care of my mother. And he started speaking her daughter-in-law Sadachara. The etiquette to the daughter-in-law. He told that you should not speak good about me in the presence of Bharat because it is not good. So Mother Sita said, I know everything. My mother has taught me all this thing, but I am not going to stay here to do all this thing. I am coming with you. Eventually again Lord Ram insisted that she should stay back. Then Sita said, I think my father married me to a eunuch. Sita spoke that harsh word to Lord Ram to provoke his Kshatriya spirit. He said, you are coming with me. Because she was saying to Lord Ram that you are a Purusha from outside, but you cannot take with me. I am going to come with you. It's my responsibility. Then Lord Ram told her, it is my responsibility to see that you are comfortable. And it is your responsibility to follow me. Usually what happens, we tell others about their responsibility, forget about our responsibility. And that causes conflict. So when Ram was told by Sita, out of affection and to provoke Lord Ram that you are eunuch, so it is explained that Lord Ram proved Mother Sita, I am not eunuch, by killing 14,000 demons. And he showed his bow and arrow. Now see, I am a Purush. Sita said, well done. So here Lakshman is telling Mother Sita, you saw it, you experienced it. He said, nothing can happen to Lord Ram. He said, all the demons, all the Devatas, all the Gandharvas, all the Kinnaras, all the Rakshasas, all the Charanas, if all they come together to fight Lord Ram, he can finish them off. He said, don't worry. So Lakshmana is showing his confidence. But the problem was there was a clash between confidence and concern. Clash can happen between good and bad. That's very easy to deal in one sense. Duryodhan is not a difficult choice for Bhim to kill. Karna is not a difficult choice for Arjun to kill. But when you have to shoot arrows at Bhishma, whom you love more than your life, that is very difficult. Where you love someone more than your life, but somehow you have to shoot an arrow. One time Prabhupada called in the middle of the night some of his devotees. And he showed the picture of Arjun on the battlefield of Kurukshetra along with Krishna. He said, being devotee is not very easy. You have to shoot somebody who is very dear to you. He said, now you go and take rest. He just called them to tell this. And he sent them back. So just see, both are loving Lord Ramachandra, but there is such a big misunderstanding. And that misunderstanding led to Sita, out of concern to Lord Ram, she said, if you don't go, that means I know why you are here. As Guha was suspecting Lakshmana's intentions. Similarly, Sita, it is a circumstantial outburst. It is not that Sita believed like that. She had no background in regards to accusing Lord Lakshman. She said, you are only waiting to enjoy me. And Lakshman closed his ears. Can you imagine? Lakshman never saw even the face of Mother Sita. Always looked at her feet because he was so respectful to her. So he ran from there. He ran from there to protect Lord Ramachandra, even though he knew that he cannot be protected. In fact, now Sita is in danger. When he was going, he told, I think there is something going to happen to you, but what can I do? He walked away. When he came there, Lord Ramachandra questioned Lakshman's competency. I had told you not to come. Just imagine, one dear personality questions your competency after 14 years of service to him, without sleeping also, 14 years, and then the second personality whom you serve, they question your integrity. What is there left in you? Commit suicide only, right? But Lakshman went beyond that also. It's very interesting. Therefore, conflict in this material world is unavoidable. While Kirtan also, there is a conflict. Who will play Mridang? It is part of life. But the destination is important. What is that destination? The destination of relationship has to continue. Even in Krishna Lila, in the Vishnu Puran, the story continues when Lord Krishna was living in Dwarka. Narad Muni came to meet. And he came to the palace of Rukmini when Krishna was with Rukmini. Now Narad Muni cannot expand like Krishna, 16,108. That is how Krishna, saved all the conflict about his wives. He came there inviting Krishna for the festival in the heavenly planet. And in those times, the invitation was not a card. You would bring certain, beautiful ingredients. So Narad Muni brought this Parijat flower. He said, Indra sent this flower to you, inviting you to come to this festival. And Krishna accepted the invitation, the verbal invitation, but the problem was the flower now. If Narad Muni gives the flower to Rukmini, along with the fragrance, the news also will reach to Satyabhama. So Narad Muni asked this question, Krishna, can I give this flower to Rukmini now? So you can't say no. So Krishna said yes. So when he received the flower, Narad Muni visited the next palace, the palace of Satyabhama. When he came there, Satyabhama asked him, what kind of perfume is this? You are a brahmachari and you are having a perfume. So Narad Muni said, no, it is not a perfume, it is a flower of invitation. She said, where is that flower? He said, I give it to Rukmini because Krishna told me to give. And Narad Muni walked away from it. So then Krishna has to deal the problem. When Krishna went to Satyabhama, Satyabhama's nature, because she is a left wing queen, like Radharani. So she said she was sulky, she cannot be submissive. Rukmini is so submissive, if Krishna says something to fight also, she will not fight. Like Prabhupada told one of his disciples, he said, you don't fight back, no fun. Prabhupada always liked debate. Just accepting everything, yes, Prabhupada, he did not like it. He wanted him to be challenged. Now that's his nature. Some devotees don't want any challenge. They said, just accept what I say. So here, Rukmini was very submissive. Satyabhama was not submissive. Her way of expressing is to attack. And Krishna liked it. So Krishna said, forget the flower, I'll bring the tree. And Prabhupada in Krishna book talks about this as if Krishna is like a henpecked husband. And there is no problem as long as the relationship is good. So then Krishna went to the heavenly planets, plucked the entire Parijat tree. And there also Indra, Shukadeva Goswami becomes very angry while narrating this story. Krishna had just come to heavenly planets to give what belongs to Indra's mother, the Karana Kundal and the umbrella. So Indra took it. And then he came to attack Krishna. He said, how dare you take something belongs to the heavenly planet? So when he is narrating the story to Pariksit Maharaj, Shukadeva Goswami, while narrating, sometimes he becomes emotional also. He says, hell with this devatas that they are so ungrateful. So of course Krishna easily defeated Indra, brought the tree and planted in the courtyard of Satyabhama. So the Bhagavatam concludes the story here. But in the Vishnu Puran it is explained that when Satyabhama had the tree, when she got up next morning or after a few days, she saw all the flowers are in the courtyard of Rukmini. Only trees in her garden, and the flowers are in Rukmini's garden. You can imagine, she was so mad. She told Krishna, this is the conspiracy. You had no intention that I should get the flowers, so you planted the tree in such a way that all the flowers go to Rukmini. Then Krishna told a very interesting point to Satyabhama. He said, Satyabhama, you are a Bhumi Devi. You do not enjoy anything. All enjoyment you give to others. When Krishna said like that, when Krishna explained to Satyabhama about her identity, Satyabhama became very pacified. He said, there is no enjoyment for me. In the Mahabharata also we see, in fact there are many people who have written books in India. They say Krishna was very cunning. He used Draupadi for the war, but the kingdom went to the grandson of Subhadra. Dynasty politics. No? So people have written like that, oh just see. And if you see from a factual perspective, from a storyline, a historical perspective, that is truth. But questioning Krishna's intention, not understanding real part of it, because Draupadi represents Agni. Agni does not enjoy anything. Agni is there for purification. When you offer something in the fire, fire consumes all the contamination, and the prasad is given not to the fire, prasad is enjoyed by somebody else. Therefore, sometimes some people are so designed in their core character, they only enjoy sacrificing. And pleasure is received by somebody else. That is part of the entire Vaishnava literature. Mother Devaki, can you imagine all the trouble she went through? What is an impetus? I think one of the students in one medical college was asking this question that Kamsa should have been simple, intelligent. If he wanted to really save himself, he should have kept Devaki in one room and Vasudeva in another room. People think from so many different perspectives. But Kamsa also had some culture. He would never separate husband and wife. So then when they stayed together, they had 6 children. Can you imagine? Every child of yours is brutally destroyed and killed. Right in your presence. So what is the impetus to have the 7th child? Nowadays people, one of the trouble is that every child is seen through the perspective of expenses. Right? Every child is very costly to raise. So therefore we see from it's a reality also. It's a reality also, like one devotee. Unfortunately, he doesn't have any children, but he had 7 brothers and sisters. So one day he was asking his father. He said, "Papa, how is that you could have 7 children?" So his father said, "Beta, this is my real wealth. You are all my real wealth." So that time we could see children as real wealth. Now we see every child as a costly affair. The whole perception has changed. Right. So here our Subhadra and Draupadi, we see the story. Sita and Lakshman, we see the story. And our Satyabhama and Rukmini, we see the story. So therefore some people are born to sacrifice. Urmila, her sacrifice is so great, so great. At least Sita had Lord Ram with her. Shatrughna had his wife with her. Bharat had his wife with her. And what Urmila had? Urmila had 3 mother-in-laws. Can you imagine? Dealing with 3 mother-in-laws. Actually not 3. Dasharath Maharaja had 353 wives. 3 primary wives and 350 other wives. So to deal with 353 wives is not, mother-in-law is not very easy. Sometimes one mother-in-law is as good as 353. And of course the same thing is the daughter-in-law also. Difficult for the mother-in-law. So the conflict is everywhere, and because of the conflict, you can't break the relationship. In Kali Yuga there are 2 things. If you stay with people, you fight. If you stay alone, you become hypocrite. Kalayar dosho nidhi rajan asteka mahanaguna. And what is this? Kirtana deva Krishna se mukta sangha param. Kirtan means whether it is chanting Hare Krishna in the Kirtan, whether it is Kirtan of distributing the books, Kirtan of distributing prasad, rendering devotional service. You can have hundreds of opinions in regards to what kind of color we should have on the wall. Right? Because no color can be a universal color, because everybody has their own taste. Like in our ashram, we have brahmacharis and the congregation devotees from all kinds of community, from Assam to Kerala. Now the taste of devotees who are from Assam, their food taste is different. Even though they become Hare Krishna devotee, but the food habits are the same. It may not have onion and garlic, but the flavor is the same. We have South Indians who want rice dal, dahi rice, and we have Punjabis who want parota and dahi. So Prabhuji runs a mega kitchen. But till now, yes, please, large number of people, but not everyone on the same day. Not possible. Not possible. Not possible. No, it is not possible only. Why? Because the nature of this material world is that to please everyone is not possible. When we understand this principle, like last time when we had conducted this seminar on relationship, we discussed about the 5 principles, how relationship can sustain and slowly grow and then become a mature fruit. I remember one time Bhurijan Prabhu and his good wife Jagat Tarini Mataji, they were giving Bhagavatam class in the temple. And it was fantastic to see both speak. She was speaking, he was speaking, she was speaking, he was speaking. You know, they were sharing back and forth, back and forth. And their son was sitting. You know, he stays in Mumbai. Jai Guru Pahar. He was sitting next to me. I was telling him, I said, you know, your mother is speaking better than your father. He said, don't tell that to my father. He said, no, he'll be happy to hear. So then we complimented both of them. You know, you gave such a beautiful class, such a profound, you know, there was theory, there was the philosophy, and there was wisdom also. And then Gurujan Prabhu made a very interesting point. He said, you know what? He said, this was watering the tree for 35 years. Our relationship of husband and wife has gone through a lot of challenges, but we kept on watering the tree, and now we are experiencing the fruit. And the son, he said, Dad, that is so difficult to water for 35 years without the fruit. But the fruits do not come unless we water for many, many years. Therefore, these 5 relationship principles, what I learned, one is appreciation. When we appreciate something, what someone has done good in the past, therefore the whole principle of Shraddha. Shraddha means what? Having a gratitude with faith to our ancestor for whatever good they have done. And somebody was telling me the story of elephants. I don't know how far it is true, but it is profound. He was saying the elephants, they all come together when somebody dies, one of their members of the herd. The elephants, they come together, they give a burial to this elephant, and that day for 24 hours they do fasting. Again, very humbling experience. Elephants are fasting for the entire day, and that doesn't stop there. Next year the elephant come in the same spot, same day, to remember their family member. That is called a Shraddha. And therefore the Bhagavatam explains one of the characteristics of intelligence is gratitude. Nowadays we say children have become more intelligent than past. Yes, certainly the information what they have, the technical skills what they have, the ability to crack the password what the father has placed in the computer or in the phone. You know, brilliantly they can do it. Smarter than what we could ever imagine. We never had the opportunity. I don't think anybody, our generation, could ever raise their voice and debate with their father. It was one-way traffic. He says and you listen. Nowadays, it is other way around. They have such a logic, the parents are, you know, they don't have words to speak. But the problem is, what we are missing on is gratitude. So gratitude means appreciating kritadnyata. The quality of kritadnyata is called as kritadnya. Remember the past good what somebody has done to us. That is, appreciation is very important. Appreciate the past good. Second quality is to encourage. You know, you always hear when Prabhupada came to America, coming from a very pure background, even as a small baby, he could not be contaminated. His father offered him chicken soup for his health, but he vomited out. He couldn't take it. So that kind of purity. And one of the defect of purity is that purity cannot stand impurity. There is no tolerance. One of the defect or one of the disadvantages of purity is that impurity cannot be stood by the purity. But here when he came to America, he could see unlimited contamination. But within that unlimited contamination, he saw some spark. And what did he do? He fanned it. So, seeing the potential, fanning it and making it into a blazing fire. This is possible. But the third is very difficult. What is that? Respecting the difference. The problem in the modern time is that we want to create uniformity. There should not be a diversity. You know, one color dress, right? One way you have to speak. Like a monotonous way, you try to create uniformity without diversity. But life is so designed without diversity, it is not called as life only. Therefore, respecting the difference becomes very important principle. That you are in this way, I am in this way, and I believe in this way. In fact, there is a story. A father was told by his wife, means, a man was told by his wife, our son is not studying mathematics. In India, maths and science are the religion, right? Doctor and engineer. If you don't become doctor and engineer, you don't have an existence. And therefore, so many kids commit suicide in this Kota, Rajasthan, because they don't get there. Everybody can't get. So this father was told by, that our son is not studying. You should force him to study mathematics. I can't handle it. And father was a criminal lawyer. So he had all the logic, all the ability to force. So he came to his son and he gave a mathematical problem. Son, tell me, how much does it cost if you buy a mango costs 8 rupees. And if you want to buy 5 mangoes, how much does it cost? And son was thinking. He kept on thinking. The father said, what are you thinking, stupid idiot? He gave all kinds of, the mantras to his son. And the son said, Papa, I'm thinking whether the mangoes are ripe or raw. The father said, it doesn't matter. I want to know how many mangoes will we get. How many money we spend for buying 5 mangoes. And the son said, Papa, it doesn't matter how many. What matters is, are they ripe? If they're ripe, it matters to me. If they're raw, doesn't matter to me. So the son was seeing from a different perspective. He was seeing from experience of mango. And father was seeing from counting, pure accountancy perspective. Therefore, the same mango, same mathematics is seen by a different personality from a different perspective. Therefore, respecting the difference is the third principle. And the fourth principle is that there are certain things which will never change. They will never change. Today morning I was, driven by one devotee, Gauranga student. I hope his wife is not listening this lecture. So he was talking about, Prabhuji, I am very intellectual and my wife is very emotional. Even if I tell her I love you, she will say, you're calculating. So how do I deal with it? Can I change? Can she change? I said no. Because if you try to be emotional, don't become brutal, but if you try to be emotional, it is not possible. Therefore, you have to adjust in such a way that you try a little bit, but not at the cost of giving up your own nature. And she has to be little adjusting, trying to be as little as possible to be understanding what you think, how you behave. Otherwise, trying to change each other. There are conflict in the ashram also. Sometimes people say, oh, wow, you're so merciful, you're traveling everywhere. We can ask why we travel. Sometimes we don't travel because, many times we don't travel because we are merciful. We are not, because mercy comes from Guru and Krishna. We travel because we have to deal with 180 brahmacharis also. Because people think from so many different perspectives. Therefore, learning to tolerate which cannot be changed. Not everything can be changed. And the fifth principle is that in life, the sportive spirit, the spirit of sportiveness is so important. And that sportive spirit, what does it do? It says, Chalta, it's okay, no problem. We don't even call it as a forgiveness, because how can we forgive? The time when we say, I forgive you, we have already taken a superior position to the other party. So the forgiveness can be made by Krishna, Guru, senior Vaishnavas. But somebody we feel that have offended us, to say that it's okay, you have another opportunity, I have another opportunity. Therefore, this principle was taught from very childhood by certain games. I'll conclude with this. And everybody played this snake and ladder game. Or in the India they play with tamarind seeds. The Telugu people call it as atta chamma. Right. So when you throw the dice or the tamarind seed, what happens? Sometimes you are stuck by the opposite party. Sometimes you go into the mouth of the snake. 98, from 98, where do you come down? You come to 2. Nowadays it has gone a little higher because children cannot handle that. I saw the snake and ladder game recently. They have changed it. They made the snake very small. But you see, nobody in this world has ever won that game without going into the mouth of the snake. So someone villager was telling me, if you see the life is so designed that nobody always wins and nobody always gets defeated. And life is sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But ultimately everyone, they reach their ultimate destination to the spiritual world. The problem is not stopping to play. So when you stop playing, then you don't go up also, and you don't experience the pain of defeat. But the day you stop, therefore Vaishnava association is troublesome, difficult, challenging. But the day we move away from the Vaishnava association, that is the day we are in the most difficult situation. Therefore Prabhupada explained, one of the things that I can advance in Krishna consciousness without the association of devotee is into hallucination. But being in the association of devotee, we will hear the words what Sita heard sometime. We'll hear the word what Ram spoke to Lakshman. May not be that magnitude, but some magnitude will be there. But when we deal with this principle and keep chanting Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
then we can experience perfection. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.